Hey everyone, I have some news. I'm hosting a workshop on July 18th at noon Eastern called Take Back Your Time. If you are tired of never having time for yourself and feeling like you are the one who does everything around the house, then I highly recommend that you go to momslovecoaching.com/takebackyourtime and sign up. I want you to know that if you show up and do the work and learn the concepts that I teach, then this workshop will be life-changing. You will understand the true reason that you have such a hard time taking any time for yourself. And once you understand that, everything else will fall into place like puzzle pieces. So join me on July 18th at noon Eastern to take back your time. Go to momslovecoaching.com/takebackyourtime. You'll also be able to find the link in the show notes. See you there. Hello, and welcome to the Moms Love Coaching podcast, where we talk about self-care from the inside out for moms. I'm your host, Carrie McFarland, along with Angie Turgeon-Ledoux. We are certified life coaches and moms, and in this podcast, we'll go beyond the take a spa day advice and talk about real and sustainable ways that you can feel better, be happier, and stay out of overwhelm and burnout. You spend your life taking care of everyone else. In this podcast, each week, it's all about you taking care of you with no guilt and no apologies. We're so happy that you've decided to spend this time with us, so go ahead and grab your favorite cup of coffee, find a comfortable place, and get ready to spend the next 30 minutes focusing on the most important person in your life, you. Welcome, everybody, to the Moms Love Coaching podcast. I am Carrie McFarland, your host, and I am actually solo today. So for those of you who listen to the podcast, you know that usually it's myself and Angie. Angie is not here today. Our schedule changed slightly, and so I am recording myself, but that's okay because I actually want to talk to you about something. So July, as we continue through the months and we do our different series. Last month was Feelings That Keep You Stuck. The month before that was Getting Through Hard Things. So for July, the topic that we're talking about is Take Back Your Time. And for moms, I know that this is a hot topic because time is something that we don't realize how much we value until it's taken away. Before we have kids, our time is really our own and we can use it how we please. I mean, we have responsibilities, we have to pay our bills, so we have jobs, and it's not like we don't have anybody in our life, but it's different when you have kids because they depend on somebody 24/7, especially when they're little, to be able to be taken care of. And as moms, we are conditioned to believe that we are the person for that job for the most part. Of course, there are exceptions, and every family is different. But in general, studies show that moms are the caretakers for the kids, for the house. Moms are the ones who take on that added responsibility of knowing what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, why it needs to be done, researching things. Moms take on a really big responsibility, and what happens is time to ourselves is sacrificed. And we don't realize how much that affects us until we start to feel different symptoms, maybe resentment, maybe depression, maybe anxiety, maybe just feeling tired all the time. Time to yourself is imperative for your mental health and for taking care of yourself at the highest level, which is what the Self Care from the Inside Out podcast is all about. And so I wanted to dedicate July to taking back your time. Some of the things that I hear from people when they talk about how they have no time is how they need to fit themselves into everybody else's schedule, right? So, and that's different in different seasons of life. When your kids are babies, your life revolves around their schedule. Throw in a full-time job, you and your partner may have a full-time job, then you're juggling that schedule as well. So the time that you have for yourself really dwindles down, and it's hard to, you don't really notice the consequences that has until it has been going on for a while. I mean, everybody talks about being tired when they have kids, and that's true, and that's an immediate effect. But it's more than that. It's more than just the physical tired. It is a deep down in your bone type of exhaustion that you feel when you don't really get to take time for yourself to recharge. Some of the other things I hear is, very little time alone, right? Especially again when your kids are little, there's not a lot of time that you can spend alone to just recharge and do nothing. One of the things that people used to say to me when my kids were little, and quite frankly, it used to drive me insane, is nap when they nap. I know that people were trying to be helpful, but it's one of those things that you say to people or to new moms or to just moms in general that doesn't really have a lot of thought behind it, because just because the baby's sleeping or the toddler is sleeping doesn't mean that you can just take a nap. And the underside of that, what I think that really does, and why I think it really got under my skin, was it sort of put the blame on the mom. Because if you're tired and you choose to not sleep while the baby's sleeping, then somehow it's your fault that you're so tired all the time. You're not using your time well. There's a little undercurrent of judgment in that statement that I don't think people mean to put out there, but it's there. And that just kind of goes back to the whole idea that moms have been conditioned to think, right? You can't rest until your baby rests. And the only time that you get to rest is when the baby is sleeping. That's simply not true. There are other ways for moms to recharge themselves without having it be completely dependent on whether or not the baby is sleeping. And so we'll talk about that. But that is just one of those things that everybody says, nobody really thinks about it until you have a kid. And then it's told to you, and you wonder, well, why can't I just do that? Why can't I just do the things I need to do for myself so I can take care of myself? So I'm just not going to tell anybody how hard it is, because clearly I'm not doing it right. And I think that's kind of the thought process that some people have when statements like that are said. Other things I hear are, I have no energy for my friends, and I'm feeling disconnected. That is definitely one of the things that happens when you have kids, is you are pulled away from things that happen outside of the house, because your whole world becomes the baby or the toddler or the children, and everything becomes contained in maybe little buckets of life. So like, your house is one bucket, preschool may be another bucket. When my kids were little, we had a resource center in town where I could take them to play, so that was another little bucket, but it was very contained, and it wasn't anything that fulfilled me as a person. I was happy that my kids were having fun, but that's different than feeling fulfilled as a person. And being happy for somebody else is good, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel that way, but it's not something that can sustain you as a person in terms of the things that you want to do with your life. Another big thing I hear is just basically feeling unsupported by your spouse or your partner, and so you end up doing everything yourself. This is a big one, because women are really conditioned to think that everything in the house is their job. And if your partner does something, that they're helping you. And this gets a little tricky, because I don't want people to not ask for help. But what I'm saying is, let's go a step further, right? Let's get a little deeper. And instead of asking for help, which puts you in the weaker position, for lack of a better phrase, because then you're relying on somebody helping you to make it better. What I'm saying is, make it better for yourself by creating something that will help you feel supported. And that can be different for different people. And it depends on a lot of different things, but one example could be hiring a nanny, and that might not be available to everybody, but arranging for a babysitter, arranging for somebody to come into the house to clean it once a month or once a week or something like that. And those are just very surface examples, but I want you to think about what you can do in your life to help you feel supported with everything that you need to do without feeling the need to ask for help. And by having the mindset and the attitude and the belief that you are not the primary person to take care of everything all the time, and that it is somebody else's duty. It's not a favor, it's somebody else's duty to also do that. Now, you can't control what other people do, and I'm not suggesting that you order people around, but by making that mind shift of, I don't need to be helped because half of this is somebody else's responsibility. What I'm saying is create a situation or create a belief that helps you sustain being supported in your life so you do not feel the need to do everything on your own all the time. And I know that there are daily things that need to happen. There's housework. If your kids are older, there's driving to and from activities. There's errands that need to be done. There's grocery shopping that needs to be done. There's meals that need to be made. All of those things need to happen usually on a daily, if not weekly basis. And women are conditioned to think that those things fall on them all the time. So chances are, if you are a woman in America, you believe that those things fall under you and that they're your responsibility. And so you do everything that you can to make sure that you get everything done all the time, every single day, and from morning to night. I mean, when I had my kids, I used to say to people that I felt like I was a shark because I never stopped moving. I never stopped moving. From the time that I got up was usually between 4 and 5 a.m. until the time I went to bed, which was usually between 10 and 11. I never stopped moving. And that was real. And it was because I felt like I was the one who needed to do everything. Now, I know some of you listening are stay at home moms. And so you're thinking, well, yeah, it's my responsibility. I need to do all of those things. But here's what I want you to ask yourself. If you had a full-time job, you would work, let's say, between 40 and 50 hours a week. What I want you to see is, or here's what I want you to understand is just because you're a stay-at-home mom does not mean that you need to take on every single thing for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without a break. This is why we get frustrated. This is why you're yelling maybe at your kids, at your partner, at the person at Starbucks. This is why this is happening. This is why you feel stressed. This is why you feel resentful because you're not giving yourself a break. You're not letting yourself recharge and replenish because you have this thought in your head that you are the person that has to do everything, especially when you're a stay at home mom. And I know what that's like because I did the same thing. It's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. Partly that's true if you choose to stay home, and I did accept that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you never, ever get a break. And that's what we have been conditioned to think, that we never get a break because this is what we chose. We chose to have kids. Kids need care 24/7. We chose to stay home. So we have to do everything ourselves. That's not the case. There are people who are stay at home moms who also get to do the things that they want, who also do the things they need to do to recharge themselves. And it doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to involve money. It doesn't mean that you're going to a spa. It might mean that you are going for a walk for an hour a day. You've arranged something so you get a break for half an hour or an hour or 3 hours a week or something. It Again, it depends on the person, it depends on your situation, it depends on what you like to do. But you don't need to run yourself into the ground just because you decide to stay home. And on the other side of that, for the moms who are working outside the house, same goes for you. You don't have to feel that everything in the house belongs to you the second that you walk in that door. That's not how it needs to be. And there are things that you can do to make sure that you feel supported and that you are still getting a break and not feeling guilty about it. I want you to imagine what it would be like to wake up in the morning with the freedom to choose your day, to choose what you put into your day and not be bounced around by other people's schedules, including your kids. And when I say schedules, I'm talking about meal times, nap times, activities, appointments, anything. What would it be like to give yourself the space to go to the beach, to go to a movie, or let's just be real, going to Target by yourself without feeling pressured or rushed? Because you can go to Target by yourself. I went to Target by myself many times, but the second I left the house, I felt guilty. I felt like I had to get back. I was feeling rushed. I made sure that I got there and I went in and I got the stuff and I got right back. So imagine doing those things without feeling pressured or rushed, that you get to take your time, be somewhere for as long as you want to be there, to feel relaxed while you're there, to feel happy while you're there, to feel calm and peaceful and content. Just picture yourself in that space. Because if you're anything like me, I bet that a lot of those times that you are by yourself, because you might be listening to this and think, well, I am by myself. I do take walks. I do go to Target. But here's what I want you to really think about. What are you feeling when you do those things? If you are feeling joyous and happy and content and guilt free, awesome. That's amazing. But if you're doing those things and you're still feeling that tug of, I should be home or I should not be doing this, or you just feel that generalized feeling of like being rushed and pressured to finish, that's the part that I want you to think about. How can you do those things without feeling like that? Because that's the difference of putting yourself first instead of fitting yourself into somebody else's schedule. That's the difference between prioritizing yourself versus prioritizing other people above yourself. Just think about some of the things that you like to do that light you up. What are those things for you? What are those things for you? You may be hearing that question and thinking, I don't even know anymore. And that's because you haven't had the chance to think about it. Your brain space has been taken up by all the things that you need to do, all the things that you worry about, all the guilt that you're feeling, maybe the resentment that you're feeling. Like your brain is being taken up by those things. I'm going to have to turn down the volume on that to be able to turn up the volume on what it is that you like to do for yourself. And you might have to go all the way back years to think about the things that you used to do that brought you joy and just start trying those again. And you may find that you still really like those things, or you might not like those things, but it will spark you to think of the things that you do like. You just have to start somewhere in order to be able to get that spark. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this today is because I want to tell you about the workshop that I'm hosting. It's on July 18th. It's at noon, and July 18th is a Thursday. In that workshop, we're going to cover everything that I just talked about, but a little deeper. We're going to talk about the true reason that you don't put yourself first and what you can do to change that. That is something that I feel very strongly about. And my goal is to help all moms prioritize themselves and build the life that brings you joy. That is what I truly want to do. I want to help you build the life that brings you joy. I have a 3-step system that I want to show you that is effective. It works. It's life changing if you go through it. If you go through this workshop and you truly take on the concepts that I teach and the methods that I use, it will be life changing to you. If you are interested in joining this workshop, and I highly, highly recommend that you do join it, you can go to momsofcoaching.com/takebackyourtime and you can sign up there. And once you do that, you'll get the link to join the meeting. So you just go to momsofcoaching.com/takebackyourtime, you sign up, and then you get the link, and that's it. You want to put it in your calendar so you can be there when it happens, but I'll also put a link in the show notes for you. So I want to leave you with this. If you want to prioritize yourself and make sure that you have the time that you need to recharge and feel joy and do the things that you want to do for yourself, then you will need to claim that time. You need to take it back. Nobody's going to give it to you. You need to take back your time. That is the only way that you will be able to create the life that you want. It is the only way to make sure that you feel supported in the things that you want to do. It is the only way to feel amazing in your life. You need to take back your time. Claim that time back. Join the workshop. Do the work. It's free. It's 45 minutes. It won't take a lot of time out of your day. If you register, you will get the replay. I highly recommend that you join live, but if you can't for some reason, I know things come up, you will get the replay. So go to momslovecoaching.com/takebackyourtime, sign up, and I will see you there. All right, everybody, this is what I have for you. I can't wait to see you at the workshop. Have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. This makes it easier for everyone to find us and helps us spread our message about self-care from the inside out. Have a wonderful week, and remember, making yourself the priority is the highest form of self-care.